A guy gave a little girl and her siblings several years of foster care, and he gave little attention to the deed. She did, however, say something to the court at the adoption hearing that brought them to tears. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Having children was always Will and Julie's dream. They felt that having children might enrich a person's life, and that raising them offered a unique feeling of satisfaction and success. Both of them had experience working with children in their previous employment and discovered that they connected well with the younger generation, a trait that would serve them well as parents. But there was one problem. Will and Julie couldn't conceive on their own. After considerable effort, a doctor finally performed some tests and determined that the unlucky couple's prospects of becoming parents were virtually non-existent. While other individuals would have been terribly shocked and crushed by this news, Will and Julie didn't give up hope of raising a kid. Even though they were unable to conceive naturally or with medicine, they were still able to foster a kid. That's just what they did then. As Will reflected on their first choice, foster parenting seemed like the best idea, he recalled. Granted, it was somewhat painful that we were unable to become parents, but we didn't need to beat ourselves up over it. Foster parenting was a fully reasonable thing to undertake if it was our only means of expressing the love we still had for each other. When a kid is unable to remain with their biological parents, a couple can foster them and give them a loving, safe home. Foster care can be required for a kid for a broad range of causes, and while it may only be necessary for a night or two in an emergency, it can occasionally continue much longer. As a matter of fact, until they reach 18 and become legally adult, some kids spend months or even years living with their foster parents. Foster parenting of this type enables kids to develop in a nurturing atmosphere that strives to meet their emotional as well as physical requirements, such as having access to food, clean water, and a warm, comfortable place to live. There are about 500,000 children living in foster families in America alone, making it an important and worthwhile endeavor. Globally, the figure is nearing 3 million. The sheer number of kids in need is mind-boggling, but it's consoling to know that there are individuals in the world who are eager to take care of them. Will and Julie seized the chance to become foster parents when it presented themselves. The brothers and sisters whose family was going through a difficult period were chosen by the couple to be fostered. While their parents sought to sort things out and make amends, Will and Julie would look after the children. The kids wouldn't have to see any acrimonious remarks or disputes, at least not in that way. Will and Julie took in the 5 children as foster parents after receiving official approval. Fostering 5 kids was undoubtedly a significant change for the couple, who had no kids before and were now responsible for 3 boys and 2 girls. There was undoubtedly a range of ages and demands because they ranged in age from 2 to 11. Would this be a difficult task? Yes, it was, but it was also going to be a worthwhile one, and it would forever alter the children's lives as well as their own. When we made that life-altering decision, we had every intention of maybe fostering 1 or 2 children, Will said. But Julie and I were unable to let them go or see them part ways when this sweet family of 5 appeared. Given what they were already going through, it would have been terrible if they had ended up being split up and placed in different households. It was therefore obvious to take on all 5 at once. It was a significant uphill task, but one that was worthy. How about throwing yourself into the deep end? Thus, Will and Julie opened their house to the 5 kids. It was a significant shift in routine, and they had to get to know every single youngster. However, what really astounded them was how open the kids were to being loved and given attention. The little that Will and Julie did know about the original family's circumstances didn't sound favorable at all. They gradually became closer, settled in, and formed their own family over the next weeks and months. It's true that the kids occasionally pushed the envelope and tried their limitations, but that's just what kids do. Overall, though, everything went well, and the odd family grew to be a close-knit unit. Even though it was just temporary, neither Will nor Julie had ever imagined that this would be how they would raise a family, but they liked it. But good things come to an end, and foster parents will eventually have to bid their wards farewell. Unless anything unexpected happens to throw a wrench in the plans, that is. See how things became even crazier and more confusing by watching the entire film. The goal was that the children would stay with Will and Julie for a short length of time, maybe only a few months, while their parents reunited and their previous house became a lot more friendlier and less toxic environment for children to be. However, as time passed, it became clear that the father and mother of the children would never be able to get over their disagreements. They found themselves in a dire situation since none of them was prepared, competent, or even willing to take care of all the children. They may go from one foster family to another, and so on until the state found them a more permanent home. However, Will and Julie didn't want their early lives to be further upended than they already had. Thus, the pair got together, had some serious long chats, and devised a strategy. Will and Julie had made the decision to adopt all 5 of the children. As a family, they had become incredibly close and loved each individual as though they were their own. However, a few problems prevented them from living happily ever after. Would a court approve their adoption of the kids? Would the kids even be interested in being adopted? See the dramatic and poignant conclusion to this story by continuing to watch. The entire family would need to appear in court to complete the adoption procedure, which had already begun. After considering the benefits and drawbacks of their suggestion, the judge would reach a conclusion. He asked Will and Julie separately about their objectives and the stability of their living situation. The judge gave the impression that he was ready to approve the adoption since he looked pleased and joyful with their responses. However, he subsequently took an unexpected action. The judge turned to face the 5 kids and asked them what they thought of Will and Julie raising them. They all appeared incredibly enthused about it, but it was what one of the girls had to say that shattered everyone's heart. In response to a direct question concerning her feelings for Will, she stated, "I've never felt that he's my foster father. All I've felt is that he's my biological father. If I had the choice, I wouldn't select a better one for us." At those comments, the court was silent, and the little girl looked about, wondering whether she had done anything wrong. In actuality, tears were in every person's eyes. Even the judge had a deeply emotional expression on his face, as Will and Julie were crying softly. The judge had no doubts about Will and Julie's ability to legally adopt the children they had fostered for so long, since it was evident to all that the 5 children looked up to, respected, and loved them. It only goes to demonstrate how much love Will and Julie still had to give, despite not being able to have children of their own. They may not have given birth to the 5 children physically, but they raised them and showed them unwavering love without reservation. Will and Julie were the finest parents in the world because of this. So, the task is now yours. What were your thoughts on this amazing tale? If you had been in the courtroom and heard the young girl's heartfelt and compassionate remarks about her foster father, how would you have responded? Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.